The Thunderbolts has been released on Disney Plus. So, what better time than now to give you my review? Greetings, movie fans, and welcome to SMG Movie Talk. And thank you all for being part of this journey with me. It's been a lot of fun creating this channel and talking about movies with one another. It's something I've always wanted to do and never really got it off the ground, but now I'm a few months in and it's been a great time so far. So thank you all for viewing these videos, liking them, leaving comments. Any engagement on this channel will just help drive more people to the channel. And with that said, I do have a goal of reaching 100 subscribers. Currently, I'm about at 40, so I have a little ways to go. And of course, 100 is not a high bar to set. So if y'all could help me get to 100, that would be amazing. And once I hit 100, I will release a video of my top 25 favorite films of all time. And I'm really looking forward to that video because it'll be just a great way to engage with you all and discuss movies, what movies we love, what movies are our favorites. So if you could help me get to that 100 subscribers, that would be amazing. So if you haven't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you have, either share this around, like the video, leave comments. Any engagement like that will just help to drive even more engagement and hopefully then more subscribers. But anyways, let's just dive on in, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on the movie Thunderbolts. But before I begin, I will say that there will be some spoilers in this video. Though I try to avoid spoilers often in my videos, this movie, I think to really do it justice and really talk about all the nuances of this movie, I can't do it without spoiling some elements. So there will be some spoilers, but I'll not go into all the specific details, but there will be some parts that I will spoil. So if you haven't already seen the movie and don't want anything spoiled, it is on Disney Plus. Go ahead, hop on Disney Plus, check out the movie, and then come back and let's talk about it. But anyways, Thunderbolts was released a few months ago in theaters. It was a little before I had my channel, and now that it's on Disney Plus, it's a perfect time to give you my thoughts. When I saw it in theaters, I thought it was a great film. I thought it was a good return to form for Marvel because they've had some misses in the past couple of years, and some movies just have not hit the highs of the earlier parts of the MCU, really leading up to Endgame. But this movie really got it back on track. I felt like Thunderbolts was exactly what the MCU needed to propel it to this next stage as we move into the Doomsday and Secret Wars, some of those really big moments that are going to happen in the next few years in the MCU. So this movie was exactly what we needed. So I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was a great movie when I saw it in theaters. However, when I watched it on Disney Plus, it hit me in a different way that it didn't hit me in theaters. There's something truly special about this movie. There's something about Thunderbolts that I think will stand the test of time for a long time. And I think this movie will actually be studied in some ways, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Because even though this movie is a superhero film with all the spectacle you would expect out of an MCU movie, this is really a character piece. This is a movie about, in many ways, mental health. Because each member of the Thunderbolts team struggles with something, whether it be depression or bipolar, trauma, grief, loneliness, isolation, loss of purpose, PTSD, or addiction. Each character has some struggles that they're trying to hide from one another, that they're trying to cover up, that they're trying to keep in the shadows. And that's something that, in many ways, we all deal with in some capacity. We all have those shadow places of ourselves that we try to hide and we try to cover up. We try to shove down inside of us because we don't want people to know that about us. We don't want people to see the ugly parts of us. Many times we put on a face and we try to act happy when we're not, and we try to just cover up the truth of who we are as a human and cover up our struggles because we feel if people know this about us, They know the truth about us. They won't like us anymore. They won't want to have anything to do with us anymore. So we hide those pieces of us. And that's what this movie's about in many ways. Each of these characters are hiding things. The characters in this movie, many of them are familiar characters from other parts of the MCU. You've got Yelena Belova, who you would have first met in Black Widow, and she has since popped up in the Hawkeye series. You then have U.S. Agent John Walker, who he was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You have Red Guardian Alexei, and he was in the Black Widow film. You have Bucky Barnes, who's popped up in a dozen or so different properties over the years. And then you have Ghost, and she was only in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp so far to this point. And then there's also a new character named Bob Reynolds, and he's played by Lewis Pullman, which it's actually kind of funny because the last kind of well-known role he was in was Top Gun Maverick, and he played Bob in Top Gun Maverick. So I guess he's just going to be known for playing Bobs. But there's a little more to this Bob than meets the eye. Basically, he's got stuff that he's hiding of his own. He used to be addicted to meth and different drugs and went in for some different tests and things like that, essentially to get superpowers, but things went wrong. And he caused some death, basically. And so since then, he's been hiding that part of himself. But in many ways, he hasn't remembered all those parts as well. He's been having really kind of selective amnesia. He also kind of deals with bipolar, but we'll get into that because there's a whole other side of him. There's a whole other side of Bob that we'll get to know a little bit later. But basically, most of these characters were different agents that worked for Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. And that's played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who would have popped up in a few different Disney Plus shows. I believe she was also in the second Black Panther movie, Wakanda Forever. So she's popped up a few times, and basically she has these different agents that do work for her organization, as she actually was the head of the CIA. So she has these different agents who are doing black ops work, but basically she's under some pressure and in different governments, basically having different trials and stuff like that about things that she has done. So now she's trying to cover it up, and she wants to clean slate and rid all of these agents, basically, so that they can't testify, essentially. Well, her attempts fail, basically, and they all join together now. And that's basically where we get this team of the Thunderbolts. And they meet this guy, Bob Reynolds, and they are a little unsure of him and what he's about. And it turns out he is a pretty special person. Turns out he has these superpowers, and essentially they say he's the more powerful than all the Avengers combined. And now Valentina wants to really use him to be her really spokesperson, or really to be the face of the work she's trying to do. Basically, be this new superhero that the public are going to see and cheer on and all that kind of stuff, and get her out of trouble, basically. So that's what she's trying to do. But there's more to Bob. Yeah, he's got all these powers. He becomes this superhero called the Sentry. But for as powerful as he is, he's got a dark side to him. And that side is called the Void. And basically the Void can, just by looking at someone, can basically poof them into essentially a shadow. And what happens then is that person goes into like a memory of their worst times they've ever lived. They relive these worst moments and worst memories over and over and over again. And as he grows in power as the Sentry, it makes the Void even that much stronger. And so now we've got our team of the Thunderbolts who are trying to stop him. And this is kind of where it gets into some spoilers, because a lot of people I've seen online were upset at how this movie ended. because it didn't end with a big shootout, punch-out, superpower battle. It ended as Yelena embraced Bob, as he was fighting with himself, because there was some self-loathing there. He was upset and mad at himself for things he had done, so he was hating on himself, so much so that darkness was completely taking him over. But she pulled him out of that. Along with the help of the other Thunderbolts, they basically embraced him and pulled him out of that darkness. And with that, he was no longer the Void anymore. And he was just Bob again. And he acknowledged he can't be the Sentry anymore. He can't tap into those powers, because if he does, then the Void comes back. And that's where this movie is really special, because it teaches a really valuable lesson that we all need one another. We all need community in some capacity. We can't do it alone, especially when we have these struggles that the characters in this movie are dealing with. If you're dealing with depression or loneliness, loss of purpose, you can't do it by yourself. All that's going to do is put you into a darker and darker place. And you're going to hate yourself more and more. And you're going to shut yourself off from the world. No, what we need is connection. We need another person to sit next to us, take our hand, and say, hey, I'm here with you. And that's what's special about this movie, because that's what they did in this movie. There's a term in psychology called shadow work. And basically it's the idea that we all have these dark places inside of us, these shadows that we keep covered up. And the only way that we can free ourselves from those shadows is to bring them out into the light and work through our issues. And the only way we can really work through those is with the help of one another. And that's what they do in this movie. They all acknowledge that they are screwed up individuals, that they all have made mistakes, they all have deep regrets. But they can get through it, they can atone for those regrets, and they can work together to lift that burden that they're carrying. So I encourage each and every one of you, if you have those dark places, if you have those shadows that you're trying to hide, find community to work through those issues with. Whether it be some kind of group therapy that can talk through with that you can talk through with other people with similar issues, or finding some kind of social group in your community. I know many different churches have small groups that you may think, oh, a church small group, you don't want to attend. But many of the small groups aren't necessarily there to dive into the Bible and all that. A lot of those groups are just there to do life with one another. I know my church, we had many different groups that we would call connect groups, and basically people would just come and just hang out and have a good time, whether it be a group about board games or something like that. Actually, we had a group one time that was a UFC fight night group, where we would go and watch the UFC fights together. And I remember one time when we did that, one guy kind of broke down and started crying, and he basically thanked us for being there with him. That if he wasn't there with this group of people, that he would have been out making some really poor decisions. And that's what we all need. We all need that release. We all need a group of people that doesn't care about our past, that can just be there to listen. And that's what's so special about this movie, because this isn't talked about enough. And in many ways, sometimes mental health struggles are just cast aside, or people with these issues are treated like outcasts. But I tell you, you're not an outcast. There's nothing wrong with you for having any of these struggles. You just need your people. You need your community. And if you're in that place and you need help finding your community, heck, let me know. I could maybe help you. I mean, I don't know how good I would be able to help you, but heck, I can do some searching for you. I've found great groups over the years and all that, and I could certainly help you as well. So if you're watching this and you're in that dark place, find that group. And if you need help, seek help, and you can get it, because we all have darkness. We all have those shadows. We just need help getting those shadows out into the light. Anyways, this video obviously took a turn that I didn't expect it to go here, but that's okay. That's what this movie did for me, though. It really reaffirmed for me my need for community, because the community has really saved my life over the years. I mean, there's times I was dealing with suicidal thoughts and had people there for me, or when I lost my parents, having people there were so important to get through those struggles. So if you're in that place and you've had problems, seek help. There's help there for you. All you need to do is reach out. If I had to rate this movie, I would rate it a lot higher now than I did a few months ago when I saw it, because it just hit me in a really special way this time around. I would give it a 9.3 out of 10. I think that this movie might be one of my favorite MCU movies of all time. Heck, it might be one of my favorite movies of all time. This is a very special movie, and I encourage you all to go see it if you haven't, or watch it on Disney+. Anyways, thank you all for being part of this journey. Thank you for staying through this video. I know I've gone a little long and ranted a little bit or whatnot, so thank you for sticking to the end. I appreciate you all for being part of this journey and watching my videos and liking and commenting. It's been a lot of fun so far, and let's see where we go from here. Thank you, and until next time, be kind to one another. Thank you.